Okay. This is going to be a deep dive on Mars, The Bringer of War by Gustav Holst. I'm going to be looking at anything and everything that catches my attention, from orchestration to harmony to rhythm, melodies, recurring themes, form, all of that stuff. Anything that catches my eye, and I'm just going to go through it and see what's happening, because it's a great piece, as I'm sure many of you would agree. So, the first thing that I notice is this is a massive orchestra. If we scroll back up here and look at the orchestra, I mean, we've got a bass oboe, which is something that I had never even heard of till I looked at this score. And that transposes down an octave from where it's written. And I think it's lower than the English horn, typically. We have two piccolos, which I'm excited to see how that's being used, and a bass flute sometime. I'm not sure if they use it in Mars, but I also noticed that we have 3 bassoons and a double bassoon. That's a ton. 6 horns, 4 trumpets in C, which I thought was interesting. I'm used to writing for trumpets in B flat. Let's see. Tenor tuba, which I assume is a euphonium, but there may be a tenor tuba. Not exactly sure. I couldn't find details on that. So if any of you know, let me know what you think. I thought the 6 timpani was interesting. 2 different players. Not sure how many songs I know that do that. If you know any, name them. Then of course we got some pretty standard percussion, celesta, which is cool. 2 harps, which is something I see in film scores that I study. And maybe they got some of their inspiration from this. I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. The one that comes to mind right now is Kroll. So that one I know has 2 harps and an organ in it as well. Excited to see what the organ's doing. And then there's a choir later, not in this piece, later in the symphony. So pretty cool. It's a huge, huge orchestration. And I haven't looked into it further than like the first page, but I'm going to look at this first page again. There are very low instruments. It looks like we have 3 octaves playing this background melody or rhythm, I guess. Not a melody, it's a rhythm. So we have that is 1 octave, and I think, yeah, the harps kind of match that. So the lower part of the harps are that lower, really low. Let's see, what is that going to be? Is that down here on the piano? And Collegno, if you don't know, is playing with the wooden part of the bow upside down, you know. Most string players don't want to do that because it wrecks their bow. Okay. And then we have, let's see, how do I change colors? I'm not sure if I know how to do that. Well, I'm going to forget about colors for now, and we're just going to move on. So then we have this octave, which is the octave up, and harps are also hitting that. So they're that's their upper part, which I thought it was weird that he did like this opposite thing, but instead of just giving, maybe it helps it ring out longer if you alternate. That's my only thought. Instead of just giving like one the higher octave and the other the lower octave. or it helps you be able to get the rhythm easier. I'm not sure. Gong, not sure that even is an octave, that's just a sound. That is a low sound. Timpani's in that same octave, so is that. And then the higher, let's see, do we have anyone else doing it? No. And the last one is these three guys on that next octave. So we have these three plus some percussion sounds. The colegno helps with that, but also the gong, which is fairly quiet. So let's see. Moving on to when they just do that forever. And I've listened to this song a lot, but I don't remember if that rhythm stays consistent throughout the whole song. I know it's there for a lot of it, but I'm not sure if there's a section without it, so I'm excited to see if that is the case. I think it's repeated so much just because it's in 5/4, and 5/4 is generally not like a common meter compared to 4/4 or maybe 3/4. So maybe that rhythm was just a hammer and hey, here's something to grab onto so you don't get lost. Okay, so we've got the 3 octaves, and I probably should have changed the colors, but I don't know if I know how. And maybe I should have. I used to have like a. Okay, moving on. Then we got some melody that comes in. Great. This will be our first theme, and it's going to be. Which is just a fifth, and then the flat fifth or sharp 4, however you want to think about it. And I don't think there's even any thirds forever, especially like in the harmony. I was looking ahead a little bit, but we'll find that out as we go. So we've got a really low horn. To me, that's not the actual note. They're playing a G as well. It's this G, which I feel like is very low, but I suppose they can go that low and maybe lower than that. I don't know the low range of horn very well, but I think that's pretty far down there. Because I feel like their sweet spot's kind of like more up an octave from that. But we got horns 5 and 6 playing this along with double bassoon, and which is down the octave as well. So that's playing the same. That's playing the real low range. And then 3 bassoon, or just 2 bassoons actually. The third one comes in over here on an octave. So we've got, with transposing, they're all just doing the same thing. G, and we've got octaves. Horns on that octave. That's the double bassoon and third bassoon. And then the other 2 bassoons, and that's when our bass oboe comes in, which is, again, down the octave. So written note is up here, but it's sounding down here. So that's just 2 octaves so far. But the cool part of this this melody is that it keeps expanding, and we'll see as we go to the next page that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We keep adding more instruments as the line goes on. So, let's see, has there been any added rhythmic elements? I don't think so. That's just the same as the page before. Though, was timpani there on the first page? Did I forget to talk about that? Oh no, I talked about it. Okay. So, we're reset. We're back to how we started. But the melody keeps going this time, which I think is cool. And bassoons split even more. We now add a fifth, I believe. So I think it goes. And then I was looking at the horn. And I'm not sure how high it goes this time. Let's see. Let's take a look. So we've got, that is 2 octaves right now, with only the double bassoon on the low octave. So we have 4 players playing that, this one, and then our double bassoon down low. And then, accounting for transposition, that E flat is actually an A flat. In that range, which the first bassoon is playing, and second bassoon is playing the 5th, which is parallel fifths and parallel octaves, which is the thing that you always hear, hey, don't do that, that's really bad. But that's, that's generally in 4-point counterpoint writing, all that specific rule is. But Holst knew when to break it, and he breaks it lovely. It really works. So we just have parallel octaves and fifths. There's no thirds yet. We don't know quality of a chord. It's just power. And it's quiet too, so it's going to build up dramatically throughout the rest of the song. But yeah, that third bassoon is just playing the octave below and matching what our double bassoon is doing. Bass clarinet is, I think that's down a 9th. Is that? I think that's how that one transposes. So it's B flat. So we actually have to say, oh, that's not D flat. It's wait. Why am I reading that wrong? I'll come back to that one in a second. I know bass oboe is an octave lower. So we have the E flat, which is the 5th part of the chord. That bass clarinet's not making any sense to me. Anyone in chat know how that transposes, or do I gotta Google it? I feel like I should know, but I mean, it's B flat, and I think it's an octave, and then the B flat, so it's a 9th, but it's not making sense as far as the harmony goes to me. The English horn's down to 5th, so that E flat is written is this A flat sounding. So the English horn and the bass oboe are doing the top 5th there before the oboe comes in on the last bar of this page. I might have to look up how bass clarinet transposes, because that's not making sense to me. It feels like, oh wait, no, it's making sense, duh. Okay, so it's playing the A flat, but it's playing it, so it's written B flat, sounds A flat, but down the octave, I think. So it's playing this note, which means that these 3 together make up that full octave. And the bassoons are doing that whole thing as well. So they're kind of doubling, like English horns doubling with the top bassoon, and so forth. And then the root with this double bass is stronger. The only thing that's different is these horns, they're playing the top. So I guess there's some more emphasis on the root as opposed to the 5th of the chord. There's, I think, 3 more players, which is good. You want more power on the main thing and not the 5th. Cool. So moving on. We just hit that chord, and then oboe comes in. two of them. But on what chord are they playing now? So we just went, actually it's just that. There's no octave below. And horns hold their note on G, sounding G, which is way down here low still. Wait, no, that's the octave now. They're on this one, which is totally comfortable in their range. Or at least the range that I thought they were comfortable with. So then bassoon is reading G. Oh, it's just the same chord. It's just re-emphasizing. Okay. I don't know why they just popped up in the, I keep like pointing at my screen with my finger. I'll use this. They did an inversion. So they all hopped up to the next interval of that 1-5-1. So that to that, but only bassoon did that. No, bass clarinet hopped up as well. Okay. Yeah, bass clarinets to this D, I believe. Yeah. Cool. Let's see what happens on the next page. Still got the low rhythm thing just smacking, kind of like a wave. I don't know. I'm sure there's some of you out there who know more about this piece and how it was written and some of the inspiration. And I know this is a war piece, the bringer of war, Mars, but to me this sort of backing rhythm comes and goes with crescendos and diminuendos. And it feels kind of like a washing of like back and forth like waves in that sense. Okay, so I just want to check that nothing happens. Pretty much, yeah, I mean, we lose some of the strings here at the end of this page. But before we get there, let's check out what is leading up to this, what's going on. Looks like the horns are stopped, and we can talk about that in just a sec. But first, let's look at the chords. So we were here. I think there's probably still someone on the G. I don't remember. And then we have oboe on this D flat. And then English horn is on this G, giving us that tritone. Is that the first time we've heard a tritone? And the rest, so far, I feel like it's either been, no, we've had it, especially against the lower rhythm repeating. So, okay. And then bass oboe is going to be down. Wait, why is the, oh, that's right. I was thinking about bass clarinet. It's just on the octave. Okay, so we got this whole tritone thing happening, and it's grotesque, but it's still pretty quiet. Like we're not even to mezzo forte yet. We're building up to that, which I think is cool. So these three are making up that sound. Bass clarinet is joining them. I mean, everyone is hitting the same notes. We got bassoon right here hitting the same thing. So those three bassoons hitting the same thing, and double bassoons also on that low note. So we got two guys on that low note there. Bass clarinet is on the D flat. This one though, because it's down the octave, and so it's down a ninth. So we were here. So everyone just went, if you were on G, you stayed on G, everyone went down. Okay, that's interesting. So we're just building, this whole thing is, you know, and how long can you play with that idea? I mean, the main motif is, and And then I think he just keeps raising it and playing. There's not really a change of harmony. It's all just over G. Until a certain point, which we'll get to. So let's just check this out. So we still got these guys hammering away. Let's take a look. So we were just here. Right? And then we have, looks like, we got A flat on the oboe. English horn is playing a D. Wait, is it? Yeah, it's playing a D. No, it's playing an E flat. Okay, so now we're back to a full 1-5-1. So it's no longer the tritone for this section. So we were, and then we're, I assume we're gonna hit that, and number one's just gonna play along nicely. Yeah, that's what happens in oboe, English horn, and bass oboe, which is again down the octave from what it's written. And this is these two notes. Right? That's what I just played. I think, let's see. So now we finally have bass clarinet, or not bass, clarinet coming in for the first time. And that's just going to be sounding down a major second, a whole tone. So those guys are the same as, that matches the top note there and so forth. Those guys are just, those guys are just doubling just to give it a wider sound and slowly build up the sound. It looks like they're playing exactly the same as what's above them. These guys, bass clarinet is down on a D, and G, D, D, yeah, okay. So nothing surprising, and then we have some inversions, whatnot. What's cool is when we hit this chord, right? We've got the rest of the horns coming in. They're all playing stopped, which is smashing your hand inside the bell, right? And that actually changes it by a half tone, I think, and makes it sound like a mute. But you have to adjust as you play a half step up or down. I can't remember. The horn players know. So it's, I probably have a lot of sun on my eyes right now. I'm going to adjust the, I think that was the right way. Let's find out. I'm watching the stream a little bit behind. Did I make it brighter? Okay. Going the other way. I know, I got a window, so what can you do? That looks, whatever. Okay, moving on. So oboe, we're building in pitch, right? So we're moving up. We started way low. That's where we have the orange. So that G on the English horn, the sounding G, I guess it doesn't go up. I was thinking it would. I heard it in my head go up, but I guess it doesn't. But we have oboe breaking into two pieces. So we have, is this a D flat major chord over G? That sounds right. Let's check the rest of the notes. That's a pretty cool chord if that's the case. What is, like, if you didn't think about that as just over G, what would that be? So we have a flat 5, a 7th, a flat 9. So that's like a diminished sort of diminished seventh with a, yeah, that's like a diminished, but not with the fully diminished seventh. So it's like a half diminished sound, but with that flat nine on top. So that's kind of a cool thing. I think that's what it is, but let's take a look. So we got, yeah, English horns on that F. So that's the top so far. Bass oboe is, that gives us the full octave. So that's our oboe family. I don't know if, do you call that an oboe family? Like when it's English horn and bass oboe and oboe? Is there another double reed family? I suppose would be the better, well no, because bassoon is double reeds. I don't know. Does English horn count in the oboe family? Or is there a word that I don't know that you guys know? Let me know. Clarinet is doubling everything that those guys are doing, at least the top. Well, let's actually take a look. So we have D flat sounding, and then A flat sounding, and then, so they're not playing that F, they're just playing the 1-5-1. Bass clarinet. So far we only have one. This is the first third of the whole piece. Where is it? Right here. English horn. That's the first. Oh, we even gave it a little bit of spikes because I moved my thing around. That is the first third of a chord for the whole song, and I don't know how many bars are we in. A fair amount. What is this, like page 3 or 4? So I think that's really cool. That up to this point, it's just been rhythm and building lines and moving up and getting louder, and just using fifths and diminished fifths and octaves. I think that's really cool. So this third is the first one, and it makes it nasty because it chose a nasty chord to go over that G, which is nasty. I mean, it's a war song, right? The god of war. So it's supposed to sound nasty. Let's see what everyone else is doing. This bass clarinet is, oh, that's also playing a third. It's down the octave from the other ones. So that's a third as well. And then we have, bassoon is doing this. So there's 3 people playing the third, and then a smattering of others playing the other 2 notes, the root and the fifth, and the flat 9 and all that. Well, I guess flat 9 over the G. Okay, so horns are playing, sounding, that's A flat, and then D flat, and then A flat. Okay, so they're playing like the fifth, at least those 3 are, and then the other ones are playing, there's another third, and then fifth horn is playing, is doubling what second horn is doing, and then sixth horn is playing F as well. That's actually 3 people playing the third in the horns, which I think is odd. Is that right? Am I reading that right? I think so. Wait, no, that's not 3 people, is it? The written out would have to be C, so it's just 2 people. Fourth and sixth horn are playing that F. Okay, fair. That seems fine. And then trumpet for the first time comes in as well, with a mute, consordino, and he's just playing top of that note with oboe. Yeah, so 2 people on that top note. Pretty cool. And that's the first time that brass is, low horns have been playing. But that's the first noticeable brassy sound with the mutes. Gets a little bit brighter there with the oboes and the brass, high brass coming in. Cool. Up to that point, it's all been just this. And I don't know about you guys, but if I sat down at the piano and I was wanting to compose something, I don't know that I would have thought to get, I don't know how many bars we're in, but it's like a fair amount of music with just that. Oops, played the wrong notes. Just like, and it keeps just going up and keeps building it, and it comes back down before it goes more. Like, it's a pretty cool thing that he has done. So far it's just one rhythmic motif, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then that whole motif, which is just 3 notes, and then playing with that, and finally getting to that D flat major over G. Which I suppose maybe it was, I don't think he ever, I mean, maybe he was implying that chord the whole time. I suppose that's what it would be. But we didn't hear the third of the chord until right here. Okay, and then moving on, we still have G going on, but we lose some of the strings. Only half, he says right here. So it's become a lot quieter, and we're back to piano. Everyone on piano. So we diminished. They hit mezzo forte here, and then get quieter, get quieter, get quieter, and then this is even quieter, I think. Let's actually scroll up. Just want to see. So they're listed as piano here, but they have more instruments. So this new section might even be quieter or meant to be quieter. I'm not sure if people play it that way, but there's less going. There's less instrumentation. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look. We're back to just. Now we're introducing trombones. I think this is the first time in the piece we have trombone. So we have just one tenor trombone playing. It looks like there's a rest underneath. But I don't see just one player. Sometimes they say. Like when the horns came in, like 1 and 2, all 2. But I guess there's a rest under there too, because we don't have the third bassoon. So I'm thinking that's just one trombone. So we're still over G, and we have we're in is that tenor clef? So that if that's C, then we have C, A, F, D flat. I hate reading that clef, personally. But let's see, that would be middle C, so it's down here. Is that right? Am I reading that right? If I'm making mistakes and you guys are watching the live stream, please let me know. And then bass trombone is just that note as well. Is there anyone above them? That's something I want to know for sure, because this is pretty low. Oh wait, no. That's an octave there, because bass trombone. I was reading the wrong octave for it. So there's... Timpani is definitely in between. Violin is above. Harp is between and below. And these guys are in between and below. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. The melody is sandwiched between the rhythmic motive, at least for this part. So we have D flat for both these guys, and let's see what happens to the next page. Okay. Rhythmic thing is going to stay consistent right here. They're just going to crescendo later. So let's look at the melody. No woodwinds this page. Okay. So we just have. I'm going to have to take a second to read this because the second trombone comes in. I think it's just, let's see, what is that? Yeah, that's got to be the tritone. Did I play that right the first time? Let me double check. If that is C, wait, why not did I just D flat? All right, that's C, then that's E. Yeah, that's D sharp. No, it's not. What am I doing wrong? This is my least used clef. I'm not a fan. So if that line is C, and then A, which is what we were on. So we have A, and then F, and then D. So that would be an alveoli D, which is C sharp. So we should be. Is that really a third? Is that what it's playing? I guess that makes sense. That looks like a sixth. Very interesting. So that's the first time we don't have on this repeating melody. It's just been at least until that last bit. Then we finally had a third. So interesting. But now we're starting, this is a new key center sort of thing. I mean, it's over G still, but it's not. Now it's starting on the tritone. And that's really messy, but that is the octave that they're all playing in down there. Let's see if I can play it like that. That just feels so muddy to me. Because this is the rhythmic thing. Still on G, and we have D flat, E flat. Yeah, and that C sharp sounds right to me. Okay, that's interesting. So this is the first time with the motive, and maybe it's just. Maybe it doesn't have any significant meaning, but this is the first time that I've noticed with this whole thing, with the motive, that it's not using either a fifth or at least back when we started, it was just doing fifths and tritones, right? But not sixths. But later on we had that sixth, like I talked about, that was the first. I guess not a sixth, a third. It's down a six from this. That's why I said it. Okay, so I guess we're using thirds now, and that's a major third. And I just want to hear that harmony one more time and trying to think about why he would have chosen to start there, because I don't think I would have. It's starting on the tritone this time. And he doesn't go up a fifth, which has been the theme before. Before it was, goes up a fifth, and then goes up a fifth and then down, goes up a fifth and down, goes up a fifth and down. So it's always been up a fifth, and this is the first time we're not going up a fifth. So it starts on the tritone. Goes up a sixth. Interesting. Okay. So just for some melodic variation, I suppose, you don't have to stay with a fifth, but it is the same motive, I believe. Pretty interesting stuff there. Okay, we're keeping the theme going. Senza sordino. I think that means no longer playing with the mute, senza. Because when you're playing with it, it's con means sordino, so con with mute. So senza means end of mute, I believe. Okay, cool. So now we have brass playing along, or trombones playing this melody, and then trumpet coming in, trumpet in C. I have to remember not to transpose the trumpet. Let's see what notes are going on for these guys. And again, it's going to be on this nasty clef that I'm unused to using. I suppose I'll get better at it as I go through the rest of this piece. So we have, what is a low F? Are we entering chord territory? Not sure. If that was C sharp, then that's a D flat. So that's the same note. And that is an A flat. I believe it's just this chord down here, which again, to me is muddy, but it sounds good in the recording. So that's so muddy. That's crazy to me. And then we have B flat and that's a D flat, I think. Hold on. That's a C. That's a B flat. Okay. Come on. That's just octaves. And that's an F. Now I think that's some chromatic median stuff going on right there. Where were we? We were, yeah, that's, so that's technically, I mean, I would think of that as a B flat just because it's B flat in the fifth, and then it goes to an A over G. I love that A over G. That's such a cool chord to go to. I'm not sure why he would choose it. Maybe he just heard it in his head and liked it. I can't think of a reason to, but it's pretty cool. So that's an A major. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Is that just an inversion? Yeah, but we're missing the third now. Get rid of the C sharp. Okay. Trumpet comes in. We have F on the bass, trombone. Then we have A flat sounding and D flat sounding. And trumpet's also playing that D flat. And I think it's just going to keep going between these chords for this section at least. D flat to B flat. I think that's what it keeps doing, B flat to A. So that's kind of a cool chord movement. Except for it doesn't have the third. So D flat. Actually, minor makes more sense in my ear. If I don't know if they replay it. But that's the chord choices there. Which would leave this D flat / C sharp as the common tone between the chords. And again, this is all over G, so it's not. Which just It's very dramatic and very exciting, I think, to have those chords. It's not a happy sound when you smash those things together, but it's pretty cool. I'm gonna stop reading every note so far. I think that's the harmony for the next little bit. We have the same idea of more instruments adding as we go. Looks like second trumpet joins on that note on a unison, and then splits there, and third trumpet comes in. So, yeah, we just talked about those chords. Again, it was, let's see, D flat major, so I believe B flat minor, and then A major. And all those chords have common tones, in, especially this one, but the first one is just that different, just one note different. Oops. So that's cool, common tones, and it's almost like he just forgot about the G and said, I'm just going to play some notes up here that clash with this G but make it sound cool. See? And then he keeps doing inversions of that as the notes go up, and as it gets a little bit louder, we're starting to crescendo. Cool. Moving on. Oh, I am in the dark. Oh, good heavens. I changed the lighting of my camera before. I'm not paying attention to the stream very much. That should help some. Okay. I don't know how long I was dark for, but the music's more important than my face, right? Okay. I'm going to stop. I think I want to take a broader view. I might come back, but I want to see how long this type of thing keeps going. So we have dun, 2, 3, dun, 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 dun. And I want to see. Oh, it changes right here. I mean, it kind of keeps the same motif, but it starts to do this wave, this oh, oh. So let's look at that. We have full brass doing that idea. Trumpets and trombones cut out there, though. Okay. And this is bringing back in woodwinds. They haven't been playing for this last section. It was just brass. And so far we haven't heard, this is the first time I think flute's in for the whole time. Haven't heard flute or piccolo at all yet. So that's interesting and good to take note of, that sometimes it's okay to leave an instrument out. I always try and write to like include everyone, but sometimes you don't want an instrument in yet. And the longer your piece is, the more that makes sense if you're trying to extend it. Okay. Violins, this is the first time I believe that they're playing not this rhythmic motif. So for the first time at all, we have them as part of the melodic side of things. And they're just matching what the, oh, they're playing very high. That's a D flat to a B. Is anyone else doing that? Flute is. So we have a combination of timbre there. Okay. Trumpet's playing that down the octave, and I'm sure many other things are playing that too, down the octave. What chord do we have going on there? Because we just talked about how we were just doing a mix between these three. D flat to B flat minor to A major, and it's just kind of inversions of that moving up with the horns and the trombones and the trumpets. So when we finally get to this big chord where everyone comes in, and this is the first time we get to forte as well, mezzo forte to forte, this is the loudest we've been in the piece so far. When we finally get there, what chord are we playing? Looks like horns, well, let's start with trumpets. So we have trumpets. That's... We're just playing... Is it another D flat major over G? That's been a common chord this whole time. I think that's looking like what it is. I don't want to look at the transposing instruments if I don't have to, because they're just probably doubling. But might have to. Yeah, horn's got the third. That C is sounding as an F. Oh, but it's saying, oh, there's the A flat. Okay, I was like looking at that thinking it was an A natural and like, what? That's not right, but it's the A flat going down, sounding as a D flat. So that is just a D flat chord going to, and again, this is C trumpet, so I don't have to transpose it. We have B. Does it go to B major? Gonna have to look at the horns, I think. Horns are playing that's that G flat is, it's a B. The D flat is a almost there. That B flat turns into the sounding, yeah, that's a B major chord, so it's going over G. So we have G flat major to B major. Oh, that's so cool. And I love that because this G is the augmented note in B. That's cool. And in this D flat major thing over G, that's also like G would be the flat 9 of that chord, which makes it a really diminished sound. Oops, B, not B flat. Ta-da, ta-da. So we're just like a wave going back and forth between those two chords, I believe, for the next little while. Until I started singing the calls early. Here it is. We have flute. We have all of the woodwinds doing the calls along with, trumpets and horns do it. So the woodwinds are joining with the trumpets. The horns are joining with the euphonium, tenor tuba. I'm going to call it euphonium. I don't know if that's exactly right, but that's what I'm going to call it. Da, 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 da. What note is that, though? Is it just, so we have, I guess, is that what trumpets are playing? So some of the horns are playing that B major chord, I believe. I gotta get a pedal to help me hear the sound. That sounds right. So it's over the B major, which is cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's the B major. Okay. And trumpets are doing are reinforcing the B major. So it's like this battle between horns and it looks like the euphonium starts it. There's a solo. See, he's the only one that does it at first. And that is, oh dear. Is euphonium in B flat? It has to be, right? Because that's a G. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Yeah, B flat. Okay. Where am I? How far have we gotten? I think down to here. Okay, yeah. So we've got the euphonium doing it solo, and then the trumpets reinforce that B sound. They all start on an F. We have G and the root and the rhythm, and then horns and euphonium will go. That's such a crazy clash of notes. I love it. And they're taking turns going back and forth on those notes. That's so cool. I don't know where this harmony comes from. It's very not nice, I guess, not clean. It's got some muddy, clashy notes, lots of angsty half-step stuff going on. And then the chords, we're doing some, that's G and B major, which is a chromatic mediant. Wait, D flat is what we were doing before. But technically this part is G, like if you look at it in terms of what it actually would be if the root was, if it wasn't just B major, that's augmented major seventh, which I think is really cool. G major augmented major seventh. So I don't know if you would think about it that way. Personally, I don't. I think of them as separate things and just being smashed on top of each other or into each other. Okay, cool. So we got da-da, 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 and it's just the first three horns doing the call, and the other three horns are reinforcing that B major. So as a horn section, they've got some close notes next to each other. Yeah. And woodwinds are helping the trumpets. Everyone else, we lost the trombones for this section. Okay, and then we just have the same rhythm thing that's been going on for the whole song. At this point, I don't know how far we are in as far as seconds, but I feel like it's at least a minute. Maybe two of just this same right? And it doesn't feel old yet. At least to me, it doesn't. When I'm listening, it doesn't feel old. Da-da, da-da. So they're fighting against each other for a while. And then they finally... Oh, they're still fighting. It just gets faster. Trumpets are still doing the B thing. Horns are still doing G, just G octaves. Da-da. And trumpets and woodwinds are doing a full B major chord. Then it gets faster. He takes it, and then we've got some low winds coming in to help us move into this triple forte. We just hit fortissimo, and it's just getting louder and louder. This is the loudest we've been. We're crescendoing, and... Is there any other things? Trombones come back in, and they're playing very quiet. I wouldn't have expected to see piano. They're just playing a B. No, let's see, what is this? Back to this clef that I don't love. That would be a D sharp and an F sharp. Yeah, so they're just playing the B major triad down here, but they're playing it. That's weird that it comes in as a piano. I wouldn't have expected that. It's odd. Okay. So yeah, they come in piano where everyone else is playing fortissimo. So he wouldn't even hear them. I mean, maybe that's just his way of saying, I don't want them to be heard. I want them to just come in and then be there so that when they grow into this triple forte, you didn't hear them come in. you don't want to distract from the main ideas going on. That's the only reason I could think of that you would start them that quiet when everything else is so loud. Looks like tuba. Is this the first note that tuba's played the whole song? I haven't been paying that close attention because we started moving a little faster. But I think that might be our first tuba. No, here it is up here. Okay. So there's been tuba. Okay. But it starts quiet as well. Timpani is quiet. The second timpani. The other one's been playing this whole time by itself. And then it's going to take over. The second timpani is going to take over with a new chord, new note. We're changing chord. We're maybe modulating right here. Not sure. So it looks like we're moving to C something, C minor. Is that right? Maybe not. Let's take a look at this chord. Well, violins are playing C and C, C and C, okay. And then violas are playing C and C, down the octaves. So far we have 3 octaves. Wait, is that right? And then, is there no... We have 4 octaves on just the violins and violas. Violas, I thought there would be some intermingling, but I was wrong. And then cello plays the same note as the low violas. There's that octave. And that's also doubled by the double bass. So that's 5. Just everyone on C, as loud as you can possibly play. Here's our rhythmic motif, right? Pretty much as loud as you can play on an octave, 5 octaves, right? That's pretty powerful. And then the rest of you guys, let's take a look at trumpets. What is that? Is that a flat? Is that F flat? I can't tell what the marking is. It might just be a natural because we were playing sharp. So would it be an F minor that we're now in? But we're playing everyone on the C? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. This is trumpet in C, so I don't have to transpose it. We have a D flat in trumpet 3. Is that really what trumpets are playing? Everything else is playing a C. So what are the trumpets doing? That's a C, that's a D flat. I think it's saying an F natural and then an A flat. I guess it's D flat against C. Just another rub. Just a half step rub. A chord over the major 7th, if you want to think of it that way. Kind of weird. What are the horns doing? And what are the woodwinds doing? Let's look at horns first. So that's going to be a D flat sounding chord, I believe. There's the A flat, F, that's D flat. Yeah, so they're just playing D flat over C. So horns and trumpets are over C. Everyone else so far below, so let's look, is on the C. Woodwinds, what are you guys doing? Piccolo, 2 piccolo notes. Okay, interesting. We have C, E. I'm bad at reading that high on the ledger lines. A, C, E, that would be F, natural, and A flat. Way up here, I think, or are they even higher than that? Am I reading the right octave? I think that's right. Yeah. So they're playing part of the D flat. D flat, A flat, F. That looks like D flat, A flat, D flat. Okay, so woodwinds, except for double bassoon, it looks like are playing oh, and bass clarinet are all playing the D flat chord. So it's just a big mishmash of the D flat. Most likely, I think only in those ranges, over C everywhere. Yeah, that's cool. That's pretty cool. All right. So I don't think that there's a D flat, anyone playing D flat down in this range. I think it's all, oh wait, the horns are pretty low, huh? These guys right here. So that's transposed to there, and that transposes to, I think they're playing, I think that's the lowest one, and then everyone else is higher than that. You wouldn't want one down here when everyone's playing. I think it would just muddy the sound. Which we had some muddy stuff earlier, but I think when everyone's playing this loud, you don't need it or want it, but maybe it's a thing you might look for. And the gong's been doing, you know, tremolo up to this point and just moving with the waves of crescendos and decrescendos. And finally, hit a note, just smack. Okay, now you can actually ring out, right? Not just rattle. So that's interesting. We have our switch to the new timpani right here, and this is the first time we have two timpanis playing at the same time. Is that what it was? Let's see, that one's rolling. Which, that would be the third of the B major that we were having before. Okay, so now we're yamming as loud as we can. We have just hit D flat over C, which is very smashy. As loud as we can. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So we got strings just, I don't think, I have to say, if I was playing strings, I'd probably be pretty bored at this point. I mean, it's an amazing piece. But they've been playing this rhythm, this whole song, and in fact, they probably have only had two notes so far. Except for, I remember first violins finally played a little bit of the melody above. But you know, that's the life of a musician. I suppose that's how it goes sometimes. They'll have some melodies later for sure. Oh yeah, they have some melody and chords and tremolo up here. Okay. So now this is the first time. So far we have the main motif, the main rhythmic motif, which is da 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 da, right? And then we have da da da, or let's see, da da da. Okay, playing with that idea, da da da, right? I'm not sure if you could do that as its own motif. I think it could be. I mean, it's different than the other. I don't think it's. So I think that's its own new thing as well. That, ba-da. We finally, at this point of the piece, with the trombones, after everyone starts yamming, and actually, they do that for 3 bars, everyone holds out that nasty note, and then who keeps playing the rhythm? Just trumpet 3 and 4, and strings and timpani. So then it gets a lot quieter. I mean, it's still loud. I'm not sure if there's not like a tempo marking, or not tempo. There's not a dynamic marking, but I assume that it's not triple forte anymore, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is. Are they really playing triple forte right here for this new melody? I'm just trying to look ahead to see if I see any markings. No dynamic markings. I don't know. I'd have to listen again and see if I thought they were playing triple forte right there. Anyway, the whole point of what I was just talking about before I get distracted by the dynamics is we finally have a new motive. So we had we have that, and then we have that. At this point, we finally have a new motive. Da, 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 da. And I'm trying to think if that would be bass. Like, could da, 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 da. I'm trying to think if you like shortened the old motive. Like, could that be thought of as to where this one came from? But I'm not sure that's how that I agree with that thought. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you're watching and you care, do you think that this new idea, which I'm gonna play on. I feel like I played the wrong note there. But that's the new motive. And to me, I'm wondering, I'm excited to check, is this new section planing? And if you don't know what planing is, it's just taking a chord and moving the notes in the same interval leaps, all of them. So we're not sticking within a key at this point. We're just going around in a major triad, which I think this might be planing. So let's take a look at this first chord, and yet again we have this nasty treble, tenor clef, is that what it's called? I hate it, just because I haven't practiced it. Once you get used to clefs, you don't hate them anymore. But if you're bad at them, and it takes you time to look through it, it kind of sucks. Anyways, so we have, that would be A flat right here, and we have A flat and F, and then what is that? I need to move my mouse. That's a D flat. Okay, and the euphonium, tenor tuba, is joining on the A flat. Is that right? Because I think you got to take that one down a ninth as well. Am I wrong? It's not playing up here. It's playing this. So the test is this going to be a major triad over C? Is it really over C? That sounds so nasty. I wasn't playing that right. But now I have to look and see if that, instead of just doing it with my ears, I have to look, I can read these notes. So we have, is everything down a half step? Yeah, because that's an F going to an E. So that is indeed a half step. So far, the first two chords is planing. It's moving in the same intervals for every note. And then we have B, we have D sharp, right? I just have to look at this tenor clef and it's driving me nuts. C, A, F sharp. Yeah. Okay, this is totally planing. I think it continues its pattern. I don't want to read through the whole thing, but let me just read the bass trombone part and see if it sounds right by doing a major triad above every note. I think that's right. So awesome. We have a new melodic idea here. We have a new rhythm, and it is playing with a major triad over a C, which is, there are going to be a lot of clashing notes. Okay, cool. Later on, horn comes in, joins the bones, looks like up the octave, maybe? Yeah, that's the top 3 horns, and the bottom 3 horns too. They're doubling each other, so 2 per note. Yeah, cool. Planing for a while. Trumpet is joining the horns on that top note just to emphasize it. Looks like just first, and then second comes in to make it a little bit louder, I'm guessing. I don't know. One of the themes so far has been that we are adding instruments and then getting rid of them as we want to grow or not. Cool. Any woodwinds? No. I think it's just going to be playing up here as well. Let's take a look, though. Let's just look at this. Actually, the easiest thing would be to look at the trumpet, even though it's only 2 of the notes. Yeah, I think that's still planing. And we have euphonium joining there. Okay, moving on. It's going to be playing. Though it's interesting to note that it's not the same rhythm the whole time. He has da 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 da, which is interesting because like this beat, da 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 da, it's going to be. You would think that it would be an even thing, like you would think in 4/4. Da, da, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 but it's not that, it's in 5. So this is going to have some intermingling of rhythms over the main rhythmic motif. So that's something to keep in mind that is interesting. And I think it's fine after, like it's a cycle of 2 bars instead of just 1. Okay, yeah. So after 2 bars, it repeats, but that middle bit is, kind of this section right here. I know it's all orange. Sorry. But that middle section is, I'm going to turn the light on real quick. Okay. I'm sure I'm very dark. Okay. So yeah, it's like a 2-bar phrase, I suppose, against the 1-bar phrase of the main motive. Cool. And then it's just repeating. Oh, not repeating. Here, it changes. Da 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 da. So this 1 bar is a break from the 2 against 1 thing. It restarts the 2-bar rhythmic motive thing. Cool. And that provides some much needed variation in the melody, I think. Because it's just, as we talked about planing, chordal planing, and it's nice to have that little staccato, that one note that's no longer da 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 forever and ever and ever and ever. It's just enough of a little break that it goes, oh, okay, it's a different thing, it's kind of an exciting change, and it doesn't get stale as quickly. Okay. Violins and the rest of the strings, except for double bass, finally come in. They stop playing the thing. Trumpets now take over that job. They start blaring out their notes, you know. You can hear them in the recording for sure. And so far, earlier I said I didn't remember if that rhythm goes the whole song. So far it has. So far there hasn't been a moment without that backing rhythmic motive. Not a moment. So now we have a new melody. Over the top of of this one. So it's right now a mixing of 3 ideas, I think. I don't know why I just said across. We have that. I suppose I should do the 2-bar phrase of it. We have this new one, and we have, of course, that rhythmic motive. So now we have 3 opposing ideas. I don't know if they're opposing, but we have 3 ideas going on at the same time. 3 rhythms. Let's play. What is that? What are they doing? Okay, so I mean, it's a new melody, but it is kind of supporting the other rhythm, right? Because we have. I don't know if I can read the English horn notes transposing. Let's find out. Right? That's another thing. Except I wasn't playing all the right notes, but I was just playing the rhythm just for a sense of da-da-da-da. That, and the strings are playing that thing. Oh, and the low strings or mid strings are playing. So it's just getting passed around at this point. It's who wants to play it next. So far at the beginning we had horns playing that idea. Do they stop? They do stop. And then trumpets get the rhythm thing, strings and woodwinds take over the melody. And trombones play the melody, those planing major chords over the repeated C. And at this point, the repeated C is starting to get less attention as we split into 3 different ideas, kind of. So we really only have trumpet, which are playing in this range, and timpani is right there, and double bass is right there. So we have 4 octaves still, but they're only being covered by 1 section or player each. Yeah, interesting. We can see the trumpets join some of the, so we're just doing different variations of these 3 ideas. The planing, da-da-da-da-da, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and this new one, da-da-da-da, which is just still planing, and I think kind of is just a little different. What I'm interested in is what notes are they playing compared to. So right, bassoons on the second bar of this page, they're starting with a D flat, and oboe is playing D flat. So it's just part of the chord. That is a third of B. I stopped reading. I was just guessing. But it looks like so we have a C, and there's a C in that, so over the F. So they're just playing notes in the chord. I wouldn't, it's more joined than I initially thought. They're playing on some of the bigger, like it's da, 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 right? You're emphasizing naturally the 1 and the 3, and that's doing this here as well. I mean, we're in 5, so it's the 5th as well. But it's like the heavy hits, not the 8th notes. So that's kind of interesting. Da, 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 da. There's that awesome staccato that breaks up the monotony of the da 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 da, right? That finally da 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 da. That's like the exciting break from the repeating rhythms. Okay. I need a little water. I've been talking for a while. Okay. All right, moving on. So it keeps doing the thing. There's just some bass notes here that I trumpets there. Let's see what they're doing. Wait, I'm reading the wrong notes. Oh, but it's doing. Come on. Why am I reading this wrong? Is that right? I mean, it's a quick, it's not being held out, so maybe that's why it sounds weird to me. It's just melodic planing again. Yeah, I think it's just still more planing, but it's just emphasizing that part of the bar. And we have over an F now. We're focusing on an F. Oh, big news. We finally, I was looking for this, I was talking about it. We have the repeating motive all the way until page 10. And then, halfway through, trumpet stops playing it, timpani stops playing it, double bass stops playing it. It is gone. We finally have a break from that rhythmic motive. Okay. So we're all in on this rhythmic planing sort of idea. Yeah. Okay. Moving on then, I think. It's nothing really new. It's just playing with that idea and going up and down and continuing to go higher each time, I think. Adding more instruments as we go. And then the thing that I think is cool here is, for example, the horns are still doing the planing thing, and then he brings in trumpets or other instruments. Looks like trumpets, trombones, tuba here, low winds, and anyone else? Organ. Oh, is this the first time we've seen organ? I haven't been paying that close attention. We have it there. Any organ? No, I think this is the first time organ comes in. And it just emphasizes the end of the bar. 1, 2, 3, da, into 1. So you don't have to have every instrument playing all the time. You can make certain parts of the bar louder, even if it's this like kind of, repeating monotonous sort of rhythm. You can emphasize parts of the rhythm even if it's monotonous by adding in other instruments. Okay. Timpani is rolling. They're trading off rolling, different notes, I guess. And that's interesting. I kind of want to take a look. This is what's the timpani doing? It's just it's been hanging it out in C, and then we have G, and I'm wondering if we're now like transitioning what we want our root tone to be. Right, because we've been on C. We started out in G. I guess we're still hitting C, but it's like, I don't know. I don't want to take the time to read all of these notes right now, but that's interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that. right here, end of the page. I think we're about to get our euphonium solo. Awesome. Oh, I love this part. So we end this section, da 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 da. Bop. Here we go. And then it's just strings. Just quarter notes. It's almost like a march at this point, right? So what are they playing anyway? We've been in kind of C, but it's really just been harmonic planing all over the place. But it's been over C for the most part. Finally, at this point, we have G flat and G flat up the octave. And then we have, let's see, violas. That is, I'm not as good at reading these either. That's B flats, right? C, E flat. So, and then E flat, E flat, B flat, B flat. I'm not sure what that is. Did I read that wrong? Anyone? Oh wait, I'm playing the wrong notes. Ah! I was playing A flat on the roots instead of G flat. So that is going to be technically an E minor first inversion. So E minor, I don't know if we're in E minor, but we could be. There's none of the other strings are playing the third. So if it is indeed a first inversion, it's just those two guys, the lowest notes. Okay. So then a good thing to note is that these high strings get out of the way. They come down low, and this tenor tuba part. Actually, I'm wondering, is the tenor euphonium, right? Tenor tuba, is that transposed? Does anyone know? Is that transposed? It's in B flat, but is that an octave lower than written? So it's like a ninth lower. Da, da, da. Let's see, what would it be? I think it would be, but it's that range, right? It's not way up here. It's got to be the ninth. Yeah, it's totally a ninth. So we have, but what note was it playing against? Oh yeah. Let's see. Is that really what happens? We have, oh wait, maybe it's a new chord here. We have B flat violin, D violin. Is that right? That's such a clashy thing, and I guess the rest of this piece has been very clashy so far. So that's the violins, and then we have, pretty sure that over these. Let's see, what did we do? Sorry, I'm not used to reading, transposing down a ninth. Though we do change chords this second bit. So I'm curious what we're going in between. It looks like it's E flat minor over G, right? But then we change notes. Wait. That is, yeah, that's C flat, which is a B. E flat, then A flat. Oops. So then it's A flat. So E flat minor over G, essentially. G flat. To A flat minor. Oh, and then it changes again. That is bizarre to me. I can't wrap my head around why he chose that note to start the melody. But the rest of the song has been pretty bizarre as well, like lots of clashing notes. Like, you know, we've had roots that are, you know, like C, D flat major over C. We've had B over C, right? I think. So there's lots of clashing, which I guess we're just continuing that clashing idea. But we have, what is this? What was it? Oh yeah, E flat. So it's like a minor major 7 if you think about it in terms of all the notes together, which is such a weird choice. And then we change to A flat minor. And then where does it go? To G? We have B. Wait, B. Yeah, I think it goes to G major. And trumpets come in. Little fanfare trumpet thing. Let's see, where are we? Is that right? I'm not the best pianist. Apologies. But I'm surprised by that first change. I don't think I ever heard that interval when it was flying by fast, you know. I don't think I heard that. I like it though. I don't know what if I wonder if I was writing this, would I have chosen that D? I might have chosen like, I think I would have just stayed on the G, if I'm being honest. I mean, I like what he did a lot, but I wouldn't have thought to go to this. Yeah, I probably would have just stayed G, which is interesting. I mean, yeah, why not go down to D? I think it's cool. So the harmony, let's think about the harmony for a sec. We have that. So that sounds like a chromatic mediant to me. Let's think about it. We have G, we have E flat minor, we have A flat minor. Those are, you know, similar, but then we hit that G major and it's just gorgeous, and it's the trumpet fanfare thing, and then it's back to the dissonance, back to this. Like, you really got to be confident of that note. that you're choosing that note. Okay, let's move on a little bit. Also, this is a completely new idea. And so is this. This whole section, just the quarter note backing. Yeah, this is a new idea. New section, new themes completely. None of what we had before, except for the dissonance, the harmony that is kind of battling against each other. That's a similar part, similar theme, similar idea. And then we're in a new key. Violins fly up into this new melody. Oh, but it's the same idea, but it's a new chords, I imagine. Flute and piccolo are joining on that, just one piccolo. And then, since the strings are kind of taking over the melody, we bring in horns and woodwinds to continue that backing kind of idea. It looks like clarinet's getting to play the melody though. So it's kind of a mixture of things. Same with horn 1, they're kind of playing some of it, but not the whole thing. They're not doing the triplet bit there. Trumpet's gonna read an awesome double sharp, looks like. That's so fun. I love double sharps. Same thing with the oboe. And the question is why? And generally it's because the composer's thinking of that chord as a specific function. At least that's my understanding. They're thinking they're in a certain key center. And that's my guess, though. I don't want to go at this point into every chord and all of the changes. I want to kind of move through this section. This is the first bit of runs, really, that we've seen. In fact, I think this is the first run that we've seen the whole piece. I don't think we've had anything before this in woodwinds or strings, and they're typically the running instruments, right? Yeah, I think that's the first run. So then we have tons of runs. And then we're just playing with this new idea. And we have this new thing. It's just probably a variation of da, 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 da. So what is that a variation of? Da, 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 da. Where is that? Da, 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 da. So it's like a variation of this main melody, I think. Da, 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 da. Right? That's where that was first introduced. So then down here we have everyone kind of playing that. Da, 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 da. It's a little different. This part is a half note instead of a quarter or whatever. Da, 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 da. Yeah. So that's just a variation of something we heard in the melody. Da, 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 da. This is more variation, just added extra triplets and more moving through. Everyone's kind of getting, there's more runs. Everyone's getting tossed around to different, like we got trumpet playing it, we got horns playing it, woodwinds get a turn. Before that we have, yeah, strings. Cool. I'm moving on. And then tuba, or then the tenor tuba or the euphonium gets another solo. This time no strings. Looks like it's trumpet. And then the trumpet is playing the, I don't know what the musical term is. Do you guys know the musical term? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's like row, row, row your boat, row, row, row your boat. You know what I'm talking about? Like rounds? Is it just rounds? There's got to be another term for it. Anyways, that's what happens here. Trumpet plays a bar later. essentially. And trumpets 3 and 4 are just playing the chord, backing chords, and then it's just percussion. That's very light. That might be the slimmest instrumentation we've seen so far, because even at the beginning when it's really quiet, there's lots of different people playing. So I think this is the least amount of instruments playing right now. Technically only 5 brass and 2 percussion. Huh. Okay, so moving on, they play their awesome da-da, da-da, da-da. Once they're finished playing, what happens? This happens. Da-da-da-da. Dun, 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 dun. Trumpets, I'm curious what's happening there harmonically. So tenor tuba, bass tuba, they just played a, let's see. Dun, dun. Is that a minor 7th? Yeah. Trombones play that as well, but they don't hold. And then trumpets, what are you guys doing? We've got a C and A natural. We have an E and an F sharp. I'm not sure what that is. But that sounds familiar. Dun, dun. That's definitely the trumpet part, though I wasn't playing it exact, I don't think. What? Wait. Is that right? Yeah, I might have been playing it wrong before. Tenor tuba and bass, or yeah, euphonium and tuba. That's such a nasty. If I look at these notes and think about what it would be. Sure what I would label that is that a diminished, half diminished, like F sharp half diminished? If that's F sharp half diminished, and then these guys are playing. Why would there be an A flat down low? If it is F sharp, I mean, I'm really unsure of this one harmonically. I don't really know what's going on. I mean, that is the trumpets are playing, I think, F sharp half diminished. And the woodwinds are doing some crazy right? One and I can't hear that rhythm in my head. Right? Okay. I don't know why that took me a second. What are they playing? Is it just like a diminished sort of, without looking too deeply, and I could be wrong, my first guess is that we're just using like a diminished scale here. Let's just look at the oboe part. What is that? I don't know. Maybe like maybe I don't. That's not a whole half. That's not a diminished scale. This has me baffled harmonically. If anyone has any clue what's going on here, I'd really like your input. But we have. So I think it's like a 6 note, or no, that's a 7. Maybe it's a harmonic minor mode. I don't know. I'm kind of lost. I think I'm gonna have to move past that one, unfortunately. But yeah, interesting. And it could be that Holst just liked how it sounded. He heard the notes in his head. Maybe he didn't know what he was writing either, at least in terms of music theory. You know, sometimes you don't know and you just write what you like. And it just sounds nasty. Like this section's kind of nasty. It's supposed to be. It gets even crazier woodwind-wise. They're just doing these runs with the strings. Horns hit a huge note that they hold, which looks like what is that? A minor? Yeah, it's an A. I gotta look now. So that G turns into a C, that E turns into an A, that B turns into a D sharp, and then we have an F sharp and a, oh, it's just a diminished chord. Okay, so now we're in diminished, at least from this page is. I'm not sure about the one before because that was like half diminished. I don't know. Anyways, that's a huge diminished chord right here. Blah, blah, blah. Really loud. And then the woodwinds and strings are going crazy up until this point. And then silence. Nothing for like a beat, right? And then really low. Did I play the wrong note? Anyway, I think that's the right note. I want to know what this nasty chord is. So we're going to look at, let's just use the double bass. So we have G sharp, and then I want to look at the horns, and that should probably tell us what chord this is. So that's down a fifth, A, and then, wait, that's a G down. So it's like D over G sharp. Another clashy, nasty, angsty chord, right? I mean, I could take time to look at all the other notes and all the other voicings, but I think that's just going to probably be it. Wait, what was I playing? Yeah, A. The violins are on A. Yeah, I think it's just a nasty. Maybe there's a few other notes smattered in there, but it's. Wait, that's not what I was playing. And it's a low, like everything's low. So I think it's just D over G sharp. And it starts out really harsh and loud. And then it gets quiet. It's a long note. And then we finally have some, we're back to an old theme. And it's changed meter. So it's putting that old theme that I said was a 2-bar kind of theme into 1 bar. And it's very quiet right now. We just have 4 bassoons playing in an octave. This is down the octave. And then we have, okay, cellos playing the same octave as bassoons, double bass playing the same as double bassoon. And we got some low tremolo violins. Okay, that's cool. Playing just a G sharp. So that's our new key center, I guess. And we're back to the planing idea. We're da 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 da, right? We're taking, I believe, at least not yet. Before we were taking a major chord and just moving it around at the same intervals. Now we're just playing octaves. So we have right, and we have a snare drum, da 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 da, da da da, right? That's all that's going on. So it's slimmed down quite a lot, and it looks like they do that by themselves, and then it gets bigger. One of the things that you notice that I noticed before I hear all the winds, the rest of the winds joining in, is I hear the horn. Ba. What note is it? No, that's not right. It's I think I sang it right the first time. Ba. And trumpets are joining that rhythm of the snare drum. Timpani starts to roll, doing that little wave. So we're back to the melodic, or this da 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 forever, right? Violas are brought in on tremolo. Before violins were tremolo, and now violins are playing with the melody, as well as the some of the woodwinds. Okay, so we're moving on. Da 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 da. So that's more of the same rhythmic thing. Timpani's joining in this time, and I think snare is now doing a roll. Okay. All of the strings are playing a melody, and it is harmonized at this point. And a sixth there, and what is that? It's a G, right? So now it's a triad. It's just let's see. I believe it would be. Let's see. So it's a wider variation. Before, I think it was a closed triad, and now we obviously have not closed. But earlier in the song, I think everything was doing closed triad stuff. Iffy on that, but I think so. Oh, and I'm very dark again, but I don't know if I have an answer to that, so music's more important, right? Okay, so moving on, da 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 da. Same sort of thing is going on. Right here, everyone's kind of playing tutti. There's a few things, looks like trumpets holding some notes, trombone. Anyone else? Oboe. This is where we hear just the main melody. Let's see, what is it? That can't be right. And we're back, right? So, kind of out of nowhere, too. I mean, I guess it builds up to that a little bit with this tutti section. We have octaves, and we have everyone playing unison, essentially. There's a few, like we talked about, holding. And interesting to note is no percussion for that bar. No, cymbal rolls or anything like that. They stop playing, and maybe that's a sign that we're about to get back into chaos and loud and as long as you can play everyone on this rhythmic motif. I don't know. I would say it different. Everyone except for you. You get one note. That's it. Is that really the case? To me, that's funny because it's like, why not just Why not just let him play too? I don't see the point of saying, oh, sorry, everyone in the whole orchestra is going to play this as loud as they can, and you just get the first note, and then you get to look around and go, you guys all have parts? I think that's funny. I don't see the point of holding back one double bassoon. Oh, dear. Oh, man. Okay. And then, I mean, this is just a repeat of what we looked at the beginning. It's back to this motive. And we are now in the key of what? Is everyone hitting? We are hitting... Let me find... Need to find not transposing. We're on G again. Yeah, back to G, which is what we started out in. G minor, I think. Though it was kind of vague. It was just everything over G. So... what keeps it up? Okay, trumpet. These guys, I remember in the recordings, trumpets are blaring at this point. They have to be because they're, along with timpani and snare drum, the only ones playing the rhythm now. So everyone else, or mostly everyone else, is back to the da-da-da. Okay, moving on. I've kind of looked at the harmony of this stuff earlier, and I assume it's just going to repeat. It's just going to be bigger. Da-da-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Eventually, they have a break, and I think violins take over. We'll get to that in a second. I'm not going to look too hard at this harmony. Everyone's playing except for oboe, flute, and piccolo. And trumpets 3 and 4 haven't been playing, or have they been switching off? That's something I need to make sure I take a look at. Okay, so they all play for that bit, and then it's trumpets 1 and 2. They play for a while. And that's interesting because I kind of thought they traded off, at least in recordings. I thought I heard it felt like it was like two different tones, like da 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 da, your turn, da 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 da, your turn, da da da, right? Like it feels like it's not consistent, and maybe that's a choice that people have made to make it easier to play that long and that high, because that's for I mean it's still high. Okay. Moving on. Okay, yeah, we're just doing more of the same thing here. There's the part where the trumpets 3 and 4 take over, and maybe that's what I'm remembering, and it just wasn't as often. Looks like we have a soli here from the tenor trombone. Okay. Or maybe it's all the trombones. I'm not sure if that is matching. I don't want to take the time to read this clef. Okay, moving on. It's just more of the same, playing with that idea, that motive, with the main, except for G, not C. I just played C. Because I was looking at that. Are they playing? That's actually a good thing to pay attention to. No, that's a G, because it's B flat. That's in B flat, okay. And then we're still going. Looks like trombones are taking the melody again. And it's doing this thing again where it builds by adding instruments, which is a beautiful thing to do in all your writing. If you want it to get louder over time, go ahead and add instruments in. Especially as it gets higher too, you can just keep adding on stacks of stuff. Then we finally have piccolos and flute join us here at the end. Trumpets are just trading back and forth. Looks like they're occasionally helped out, like there's bass trombone, timpani and snare drum are helping with that rhythm. We finally get to this point. Da-dun, dun, 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 and we're back to this theme. It's such a fun theme. And before, it was euphonium playing that solo with trumpets doing their little fanfare thing. But this is kind of a mix, looks like. So before, when we hit dun 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 da 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 dun 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 da, everything else was just quarter notes, straight bop 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 bop. This time we're actually going to mix the original rhythm with that section. So it's kind of a smashing of the two together. We have the da-da. So it's just a mixture. There's more of that, but same rhythm. Da 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 da. More of that. Looks like it's a euphonium solo again. We're getting towards the end of this. Let's see. Trumpets are taking da 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 da, and now we're mixing this one, right? 2 bars of that, 2 bars of our melodic planing idea mixed with the da 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 da, and all at the same time. These guys, right? Dun 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 dun. So now at this point in the piece, we have 3 of the main ideas for the whole piece. We commingling. Which is really cool that they can all play with each other and kind of, it's almost like it makes, I don't know if this is going to be a good analogy, but it makes me think of the, what's the term, like in jazz where you like, take turns soloing, like take 4 or something, like, take 2. That's what this is to me. It's like, oh, you take those 2 bars with that idea, and then I'll take my idea and put it in for 2 bars. Da, 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 and then, it's just like a passing back and forth. Meanwhile, we have the main rhythm playing the whole time. So that's cool. I don't think I've ever noticed that in casual listenings. Just enjoyed it, right? So more planning over the main idea. I assume that's just, I think it's just the same major triad planning over and over again. Trumpets are still hitting that rhythm here, or helping with it. Strings finally get some melody on this section. That too. Okay. More of the same, more of the same. Da 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 da. Yep, we have this thing again where it's accenting the certain part of the bar, right? It's just helping this have an accent instead of just being monotonous, right? It's just adding some flavor to that part of the beat. Cool. Then, okay, there's 4 Fs. We hit 4 Fs in this piece. I didn't know that. But that's screaming. Okay, that's as loud as you can play. Before in the piece, I said triple forte was as loud as you can play. I guess this one has 4 Fs, which is interesting to me. When I write, I think I should venture out and not be afraid to use more diverse, more extreme versions of dynamics, right? Though I don't think there was any sections where it was quieter than piano. Maybe there was a pianissimo, but I think the quietest was piano that was called for. Interesting. Okay. And I think we've hit this type of thing before. Earlier in the piece, it's just going to be I don't remember exactly where we are in the piece, but it's going to be some variation of, like a chord with a half step away is the root, or like a half step away from the 5th is the root. It's just going to be a nasty chord. Oh wait, I do remember where we are. I just heard it in my head. It's maybe important that we take a second to look at what these notes actually are. Da, 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 da. And then the horns come in. Da, da. Yeah, let's take a look at... Okay, so it's like everyone, organ. I don't know if I've ever heard the organ. I'm going to have to pay attention on my next listen. Da, da, da. And let's just take a look at the organ just to tell us what notes we're playing. Da, There's A flat, G, G, D flat, A flat. Over what? C? That is a nasty chord. I don't know what it is. And now it goes to F. But I don't know if it changes. Da. Okay, so I think that's a sus. That sounds like a sus. If that's a sus, then it's just a D flat major triad over C. Wait, was it C? And then it looks like it goes to B major. Yeah. And earlier in the piece, actually, we did go between D flat major and B major. So this is kind of a return to that harmony, but we add the sus in, which makes it even nastier, right? Does the root? The root goes to G, G over B. So more dissonance, right? We don't want to have any. Oops. So we got D flat sus to D flat major, all over C, which is a crazy dissonance, and then we have B major over G, which is also a dissonance, like it's the cool. And then we're almost done with the piece. We move on. It's more of this thing that I wasn't sure about earlier, but maybe it's a different harmony now. It looks like it could be. Anyway, it's just more of this crazy woodwind stuff. I think that, yeah, strings are doing that too. And we get to this last page. And I think it's probably just 151 as far as the notes. Let's see, trumpets, you're playing. Oh, it's just that same D flat sus chord. As loud as they can, everyone's playing it. There's silences in between. And then the last note, everyone comes down on G, is that right? Oh, C. So that's how it ends. Happy day. And I think that's going to be the end of the analysis for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys being here. And feel free to check anything else out on my channel. And yeah, have a great night or day, wherever you are.